Hi everybody. So I want to post this video with the title as a case for Catholic anarchism, and I want to be able to voice it as my first discussed video, basically like a first video that I'm having a discussion in, first of all time that I'm really doing this. So I want to have that as that title because I want to be able to voice that anarchism does not have to be scary, and there is a very great case for Catholic anarchism. A lot of people think that that would be contradictory. It's not contradictory. In fact, it's very well put together and coinciding together very perfectly. So the first thing I want to state is that anarchism itself is orderly, but it's just without a ruler and it's without the hierarchy. And that can work perfectly, and it's not utopian. People just have to really believe it and put it into work. Now, the whole thing is that being Catholic, I have the morals and the moral belief and the moral compass of Catholicism. I just do not believe in this whole hierarchy concept of either way of fascism, communism, capitalism, whatever those real isms are, except for anarchism and Catholicism as the only two things. Now, anarchism is a belief of just having no rulers. And it's a great way because you can have privatized business. You can have private companies and whatever you want without this hierarchy and government. Now, you see here, this perfectly puts it together as far as capitalism goes, but they're all in the same realm, capitalism and fascism and communism, all of them, because they're all believing in government. This just shows the hierarchy, capitalism being at the top, in this instance, that the people at the top are the fat cats, the ones that are controlling anybody below them, and anybody below them doesn't stand a chance, especially the ones at the way bottom. So capitalism is very wrong. Capitalism is not a way of helping people at all. It's still a government. It's just like an oligarchy or anything else. They control and rule the people, and they use it through force, fear, money, and war, anything they can to keep the whole system going so that the people at the top can control the people at the bottom. And it doesn't matter what government it is. That is always how it will go, no matter what, if you have a government. Now, the Constitution was a great concept of trying to get away from the government, but there's never been really an anarchistic society, and the reason is because it's always the government that wants to try to control the people. Now, if you look at this, you see it always goes that way. The fat cats at the top, people at the bottom, always fighting for the ones at the top. And it shouldn't be like that. If you have an anarchistic society, you will have privatized business. You will have no problems in the sense of having somebody completely looking over you and controlling you. You will have your own way of life that you can live with your own freedoms, with your right to free speech, right to bear arms, and everything that you need to have for yourself and to take for yourself. Now, even morally as a Catholic, I can go along with that, and it can be perfectly coinciding with each other. Now, this quote right here that you see, none are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free. That quote is incredibly important because when you look at it, today we are so comfortable as a society, and we aren't really free. We believe that we're free, and when you get into that comfortable state of believing that you're free because the government gives you things or does things, whatever, that's where you're hopeless and that's where you're not free. You don't realize that the law takes away from you, that the law takes away from everything that you have, and there's little by little they get these laws passed and enforced so that the government can control you and take away from you. They do everything they can by passing these stupid laws, and laws don't do anything to help people. Laws don't do anything to... Because the reason is because criminals are going to break the law anyway. It doesn't matter if it's written down on a piece of paper or they say you can't do that. Criminals are going to do it. And no matter what, there's going to be a society where the criminals will do that and they'll try to do anything they can to break the law. So what's the point of the law? And the people say, well, the point of the law is to try to stop them and put them away. Well, no. We're putting people away in jail and we're not actually solving the problem because we're putting them in jail they're not getting rehabilitated in any sense. If they get out of jail, they're going to be just as messed up because they're in a concrete cage in a cruel way, basically. But if they are in jail for life, we're just keeping them in jail and giving our taxes to that one prison system that is being fed all this money through the taxation, and nothing's being done to help anything. They're just stuck there, and a lot of people are innocent that are in jail, believe it or not. So it's completely wrong to have that one government jail system. And the government does this because they want total control, they want money, and they create the chaos. They want to have all control. They create the war. They have a concrete system that works for them and not the individual. Anarchism says, on the contrary, I have my individual rights, I have my individual freedoms, I can go to privatized businesses and have whatever type of service that is privatized that I want, and the government doesn't have any say because there is no government. You could have privatized policing too, so that works just like that, and security. So also I want to note that this picture was taken in the early 1900s going against the war of World War I, where the big banks started to get big, and they had also around that time they had the 16th Amendment ratified, where taxation was put into the Constitution. Taxation is theft, and they use it for war or whatever they want to use it for to keep the system going. But I also want to put this verse where people try to use this as an argument against Catholic Anarchism, where Paul said, everyone must submit to governing authorities, for all authority comes from God, and those in positions of authority have been placed there by God. People use this as a retort to my premise of how a Catholic anarchism works, and they use this verse to say it doesn't, and that it's not by God or whatever. Conversely, it actually does work, because this verse goes completely with what I'm saying. If you see that God has placed governments and certain authorities for God's will, just like when Jesus was being condemned to death by the Jews, and the Jews and the Roman Empire put him to death, Jesus didn't agree with the government. He was standing completely against the government, and as I have been pacifistic, that's the same ideal and concept with anarchism and Catholic anarchism. I am not saying Jesus was an anarchist, but I'm saying it goes hand in hand with my viewpoint, that you can be pacifistic and submit to your authority, but you don't have to believe in what the authority says at all, and you can go against it and believe in something else, just believing in it in peaceful matters in a peaceful way. So this verse goes with what I'm saying. It doesn't. There's no argument against me with this verse, and I'll even go into the verse that Jesus had said about going against authority that is not of God, even if it was placed there. Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jewish leaders." That says everything you need to know, that you can be Catholic and you can be an anarchist, because Jesus had fought in his own way, in a pacifistic, peaceful way, that he did not believe in what the Jewish leaders were trying to say and do to him. He accepted God's will through the governing authorities, what they were going to do to him. But that doesn't mean he believed that what they were doing were right or believed in them, even if they were placed there by God's will. So it goes hand in hand. There's nothing wrong with being a Catholic anarchist, and you can believe in Catholic anarchy. You can believe in anarchy. There's nothing wrong with it. You can totally be okay with it. But people today are very scared of the idea because they don't want to go to that length of having that much freedom, I think. I think they're too comfortable. So that is the point of that. And I also want to go into another quote right here that Teddy Roosevelt had said: "The pacifist is as surely a traitor to his country and to humanity as is the most brutal wrongdoer." So Teddy Roosevelt, I totally disagree with him on this. And I liked Teddy Roosevelt a lot with his adversity. He fought against adversity. He had been a very manly icon and a very strong and just a person that you can look up to as like a man's man. He's like a fatherly figure almost. And I believe in a lot of what he had to say, but he actually created the police state. If you look into it, he was the one that created the modern day police
force that has been the way it is today. And I totally disagree with him on that, and I disagree with him on this pacifist quote that he had, because there's nothing wrong with being a pacifist in the sense of you don't feel like you have to be on the offensive. You don't have to. You don't have to be on the offensive to get your point across in the sense of violence and rioting or whatever. Whatever. You don't have to be that way. I think he sees pacifism, if in this context, if this is what the context was, he sees it as something of, well, being lazy and being just not going against morals and just not doing anything, because that's not what pacifism is. Pacifism is to be peaceful, as I am. I'm not looking to start a revolution. You know, here's a good picture. If I was going to put this, showing that Teddy he was a great man's man, a good, strong leader. But what I'm saying is, I do not believe in being a completely out of control, like just nihilistic person that fights people to get my point across. In fact, I'm the opposite. I don't believe in fighting this government violently. You know, I think the way to do it is you do have your arms and you have everything that you need and your freedoms and your liberties, but you go against this government in a peaceful way, and you fight against the government by standing up and voicing your rights and your opinions and whatever you need to show that you are a human being with individual rights. And the jail system is wrong. You could say that. You could say that the prison system's wrong, that the government's wrong, and that anarchy is okay, because anarchy is okay. And you can be everything that you need to be in an anarchistic society, and you can have it work. People don't need to be afraid of it anymore, and it's something that people can embrace. So, me as a Catholic anarchist, I believe in what I just said, is having the society be in a privatized way, without government, and following Catholic morals, traditional Catholic morals, and being that, just to be literally fighting for your rights in a peaceful way and having your individual rights in a peaceful way. But if you need to defend yourself, you can defend yourself because you have your rights. You have the ability to defend yourself. So that's really it. I didn't want to go too into this and make it too long of a video, but I want to touch up on this another time. Again, it's awesome to be able to voice this. And again, I also wanted to, I'll say this last thing. Don't fall for the divide and conquer agenda. The left versus right thing has always been a tool. The Democrat versus Republican thing has always been a tool to use against people, to divide them and conquer them. Black versus white, they use the same thing to divide and conquer against us and to rule over us. There should be no authority but God, and there should be no authority that tells you this is right, this is wrong. They tell you what's right and wrong. God already told us what was right and wrong, and we follow God, not the authority of man. You can't serve two masters. So that's the point. And I will touch up on this in another video. It's just I wanted to kind of have this as an introduction video. I was kind of all over the place maybe a little bit, but I'm telling you, in the next videos I'll be better, and I'll be able to have it more formatted in a way that's more sequential and better understanding and coherent. So thank you for watching my video. God bless you guys. Stay well.